Hi, everybody.
Hi,
It's Wendy
and Joanna, and we are two girls and a suitcase.
So, we want to introduce this next video because for most of the video, you see a guy named Gabriel from the back. You just see the back of his lovely head, okay? He imparts a lot of useful information about Santorini, but you don't really see his face very much.
Not at all. And we forgot to take a picture too.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So we thought, you know what? We're just going to tell you what it is, right? It was a custom driving tour. It was about 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think it was about 3 hours. And
like
he
that.
basically
Other
took
tour.
us all around Santorini, and he talked a lot, which was great because he had a lot of really
And it was
good
really
information.
good.
And then we stopped along the way, and we did some videos along the way. We have some pictures, but we just kind of wanted to set it up for you so that you know that it was a tour that we took when we were in Santorini, and it was custom, so it was just us. It was just us and Gabriel, and he was very helpful and very nice.
Also, wanted you to know that as we were on this wonderful custom tour, there's a lot of historic information that he imparted. Now, I guess we shouldn't really show them everything, but we are going to, because it's still an excellent tour. You cannot do any better than this custom tour. But there's a lot of historic information about Santorini. For those that will never get to go, you can travel virtually through us.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So have fun. Enjoy this video.
And it's long, so but
It is
enjoy.
long.
It's
Yeah.
good.
You can fast forward, but
Don't fast forward too much.
Yeah, no.
No.
Okay.
All right.
See you later. Bye.
Santorini, it's the same island. Fira with F is the capital of the island where you went yesterday. So F-I-R-A is the capital of the island, the biggest town. Thera with TH is the Greek name for the whole island. And in case that you are wondering why Thera, Theras was the first Greek king of the island, King Theras, a mighty warrior king from Sparta.
Oh.
You've heard the name Sparta, excellent soldiers.
Sparta.
Yeah, tough guys. Well, you've seen the movie 300, obviously. I'm going to give you details about the movie too, because I saw the movie and it was a pity because Spartans, they were not superheroes or supermen. They were very well trained, they had a military community, but on the movie, I mean, you know, it's a Hollywood movie, they exaggerate. Let me do something smart right here now. It's not one of the highlights, but I'm going to pull over and try to get rid of this. So you can see better and you can hear me better if you agree.
Well, and we're also we've been vlogging our whole
Videotaping,
trip,
yeah.
So we're
right.
now videoing you, just so that you know.
All right, so you can have a better view like this.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, when I'm driving it now, it's not a touristic site. I like, as I told you from the beginning, I want you to have a complete picture of the island, where the local people are staying, where they grow their vineyards.
Yes.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes, that would be great.
Otherwise, I mean, if it is just photo shoot, it has no meaning, the private tour, you know what I mean?
No, we want to definitely see
And
those
of course,
things.
I need you to hear the story of the island. What I
Yes.
need also from you. In the car, I talk too much. That's my job, to give you as many information as I can. But I'm going to give you privacy at the right places. What I need from you is whatever you see around you, feel free to ask.
Okay.
That's why you booked for a private tour, to get some answers,
Absolutely.
not just to hear a fairy tale.
Absolutely.
All right, that's the idea.
We want to hear about the off-beating path, and we want to go to the off-beating path where other islanders go, not just tourists.
Right.
I'd rather go where
Well,
the
Yeah,
locals
people who
go.
live here go. Yeah.
you're going to find out soon what I mean. And
Yeah.
since you had the experience of Kamari, you can compare. I repeat, this beach is ideal for Greek families because the water is very shallow. The parents can have a soda and still watching the children playing with the ball, whatever, since the waters are very shallow.
Nice.
For your information, the waters of Santorini are cold, and the reason. Inside the caldera, inside the half moon, where is the part of the island that's missing, the depth goes up to 400 meters.
Woo.
So it takes a while to get warm.
Warm, yeah.
When we are visiting a beach with very shallow water, it makes it much warmer than the other one.
Yes. I see that, definitely. Because I remember it being very cold.
You're right. And as you can see, there is a reason why you were feeling cold.
Yes. Of course, it was very hot outside.
Outside, yes.
So it wasn't too bad to get a little cold briefly, but
Well.
then you jump out again.
I have a very sensitive heart, to be honest. What I would like you to see is the sculpture on your right-hand side. Obviously, it's not the touristic area, but I like it. It's part of Santorini. I want you to see that. If we take a picture here, and you tell your friends that these are recent pictures from planet Mars, probably they would believe it.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's because of the sand and the wind.
Can you see that?
And you see the bumps inside.
Oh, yeah.
These were originally gas bubbles that they were trapped there
Oh.
after the eruption of the volcano. And because the sand destroyed, now you can see the bubbles in there.
Oh, yeah. That's wild.
So tell us more about Thyra.
Thera.
Thera.
Okay, in
Thera.
case that you are wondering why the first king of the island had to be a Spartan king and not look at the cave houses inside. Can you
Oh.
see? Inside the mountain. In case that you are wondering why the first king of the island was not from Athens. Athens was always the capital of Greece. Even today, just to give you an idea, the population all over Greece is 11 million people.
Woo.
Just in Athens, they live more than 5 million people.
Alright.
Greece is a small country. In ancient Greece, Athens was always the capital, but we are not talking about millions.
Right.
Today in Greece, we have different cities, obviously, but we have one army, the Greek army, and one Greek government. In ancient Greece, we used to have different cities, but we used to call them city-states.
Ah, yes.
The reason, each city had a different king and obviously a different army. That's why it was quite often for ancient Greeks, whenever we didn't have an enemy like the Persians to fight with, we were fighting one Greek city against the other. Greeks killing Greeks. It was our national hobby at that time, killing each
Ah.
other. You can read about the Greek wars on the internet.
Yes.
So as I told you, we Athenians, we were the biggest city and we had the biggest army. The problem was Sparta, a much smaller city, 160 kilometers away from Athens, much smaller with a much smaller army, obviously.
Yes.
The problem was the mentality of the Spartans. They had a military community, which means when a boy was born in Sparta, when that poor boy reaches the age of 7, just 7 years old, he had to say bye-bye to his mother, and from the age of 7, he belongs to the community where he was trained to become a professional soldier.
Wow.
Children, 7 years old. Not only that, to show you how tough these people were, if a boy was born in Sparta, that it was not 100% physically okay, it was not accepted from the community. And it was the obligation of his own mother to climb up to Mountain Taigetos, and in front of the other Spartan mothers, she had to throw her baby from the cliff, his own mother.
Wow.
He could never become a real soldier. Just to understand what I'm trying to tell you, the blessing of the Spartan mothers to their sons, when they were
you're
real
right.
soldiers, when they were,
Want you.
I'm an ugly person, the view is
You're
much
not.
better.
Come on now.
Thank you. So, the blessing of the Spartan mothers when their sons they were going for war, well, I'm going to use the ancient Greek words, tan iepitas, which means
Iepitas.
you come back holding your shield, you know, this big round metal shield, or on top of your shield. That means dead. There was no surrender for the Spartans.
Right.
And since you've seen the movie, this metal shield was more or less 45 kilograms each, because on the movie they can move it like this. At 45 kilograms you can move it like this.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you the myth
Right.
and the story.
And the story.
The story about the 300 men, yes, that's true. 300 Spartans, they died there.
Yes, they were true.
They were not superheroes.
Right.
If you want to know the real story about Sparta, because always you have to look for the logic in the situation.
Right.
We are talking about 300 men against millions of Persians. The Persian Empire was the biggest.
Right.
I mean, excuse my language, if the Persians would spit on the Spartans, they would have serious problems. What they did, at that time, Xerxes, who was the king
Yes.
of Persia, was coming to invade Greece. If you look on the map, Greece looks like a dot on the map.
Right.
So a huge army was coming against Greece. As usually, we Greeks, we have a very big problem in communication. We had meetings over meetings between the kings. If we are going to surrender, how we're going to do things. It was a good idea to surrender because how you can go against that big army.
Right.
At that time, the king of Sparta was Leonidas. So he could see that the Greek kings are delaying. So he went to the parliament and said, listen, as you can see, the rest of the Greek kings are delaying. They do meetings over meetings, we're wasting time. My opinion is this. I'm going to take my royal guard. These 300 men was not any 300 men. It was the royal guard from King Leonidas. And I'm going on a patrol mission. If he was asking for the whole army of Sparta, obviously the parliament would say no, because you're going to get killed, and then maybe Athenians, you know, a Greek never trusts a Greek, they're going to surrender, and then our women and our children are going to become slaves. So he never mentioned that. He said, just 300 men. I'm going on a patrol mission just to observe, to see how big is the army of the Persians, how many horses, how many elephants. So by the time the rest of the kings decide what they want to do, that would give us a big advantage, knowing with what kind of an army we're dealing with.
Okay.
So the parliament agreed. To be honest, King Leonidas, he didn't want to go there just to observe the Persians. But they were not on a suicide mission. I want to make myself clear. They've chosen a very narrow path called Thermopylae, hot gates is the translation.
Right.
It's a very narrow path where at the end they can fit 20 men against 20 men, no matter how many millions you have.
Right.
And trust me, 20 Spartans against 20 Persians, the Spartans were superior warriors. Not only because they were trained, it was started like a game from the age of 7, but it was the first army fighting as a team. Second, Spartans, they had the name. I mean, even Athenians. I'm going to explain you the story why Thera is here, why the name of the island is Thera, the name of the first king. So they went there. They've chosen carefully this very narrow path, and they were expecting the Persian army to come there. So when the fight started, it was always 20 men against 20 men. Actually, if you pay attention on the movie, you're going to see that the shields that the Spartans were holding were made out of steel. They knew how to use steel. If you pay attention, even the immortal was the elite of the Persian soldiers. They were calling them silent warriors or ghost warriors. They were silent because the tongue had to be cut off if you were
If you're going to be silent.
an immortal. Immortals.
Oh.
They were excellent killers from all over the empire. It was the best of the Persians. If you pay attention to the movie, they were holding these square shields made out of bamboo. You know bamboo? So for the Spartans, it was a very easy job to penetrate the bamboo shields. So what I'm trying to tell you in simple words, superior warriors, they had better weapons. I mean, it's like if you have to fight an enemy and they're holding knives and you have a machine gun, automatically that gives you a very big advantage. I'm trying to give you a reasonable explanation about what you've seen on the movie.
Right, got it.
And that's why from the moment that the traitor Ephialtes, which by the way in Greek Ephialtes means nightmare. That's the Greek word for nightmare because of this guy. When he gave away the passes behind them on the open field, they didn't stand a chance. They were killed immediately. But for them to hold Thermopylae, it was a very easy job. It was like making souvlaki, you know, souvlaki, the meat on the stick, out of Persians. I'm trying to explain to you what you've seen on the movie.
Picture, yeah.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the story about.
So they really did get betrayed by the
Yes,
nightmare.
yes.
And why was that? Greeks killing Greeks?
Remember the story I told you that the children that they were born, that they were
Yes.
disformed or whatever was not accepted because the obligation of the mother to throw the baby from the cliff in front, Taigetos mountain, in front of the other Spartan mothers. His mother, the next day, she had to throw Ephialtes from the cliff. She took her husband and her child and they left. That's why in the movie Ephialtes had also the armor of his father. So they left Sparta because they didn't want to kill the child. So Ephialtes was always, he was a Spartan.
Right.
That's why when he saw the 300 men of Leonidas, he went there and he was asking to help. Because he was feeling a soldier, you know what I mean?
Right.
This poor boy.
Yes.
And from the moment that King Leonidas told him, you know what, you are going to be a problem for us. Because you can't hold the shield the same way that everyone is. We depend to each other. So you are going to give us a problem. He was disappointed. Xerxes from the other side, he offered him a lot of women, gold, whatever. He made him feel rich and for the first time in his life. So that's why he betrayed. What you don't know, that's the funny part of the story. The Spartans, they knew that path. So they sent 1,800 Doris to guard that path. That was the deal. Doris, they offered to fight with the Spartans. Said, no, you are going to confuse us. We have a strategy. What we need from you is guard the path. After a week of fighting, and the news was that they are holding easily the Persians there. It was a massacre for the Persians, the hot gates.
They left.
Then they decided, okay, probably they're going to win the war standing there. They don't need us, and they left. That's typical Greek, you know what I mean? You say, I have customers, Greek customers. I say, okay, stay here for a second. I'm going to bring you some cold water. By the way, I have some cold water in the fridge in the trunk. Until you come back, you have no idea where they are. And then you have to try to call the travel agency to see if they contact where they are. We don't know where we are. See a name of a taverna, restaurant, hotel, something. Give me a clue. That's typical Greek. So you can understand that the mentality continues the same.
Okay, nothing has changed.
So
in
you have
4,000 years.
an idea what happened at that time,
Ah,
the
yeah.
300. The 300 were buried there, and there's a tomb that says that if Greece has democracy today, that's because of these 300 men that they offered their life for democracy. Actually, they didn't offer their life. They were not on a suicide mission. I want to make myself clear. They had a
plan.
strategy, Spartans.
They had a
Strategy,
plan
they
that
had
was
a
not
plan.
followed
Failed
through.
them
Yeah.
everywhere,
Well,
right?
if you deal with other Greeks, that's a problem.
So, hi everybody. We are at a beach that we don't know the name of yet because we're on a private tour in Santorini, and I have not been to this beach before. I already like it because if you look, it has sand. It's black sand, mind you, but it's still sand, not pebbles. So, according to our guide, Gabrielle, this is more of a family beach, one that tourists don't come to, and I can see that because there's really hardly anybody here. But he claims, and if you look at the people, that you can go out pretty far, and you're not getting too far over your knees, and the water is a little warmer. So we're gonna try that out here momentarily. And then he's gonna take us to the beach that I have been to, which is Kamari, and then we're gonna see the difference, because I remember the difference, but I wanna show you the difference. So, see you in a little bit. Hi guys, hi! So here we are, we're on the beach. Let me tell you, when I find out the name,
You will know.
this will be amazing, because this is so soft. This sand is so soft, it's so easy to walk
Feels
on.
like the Bahamas kind of beach water.
It packs down really, really well. I'm kind of tilting the camera a little bit. Let's see. Look, its feet. Where are they? Their feet down there somewhere. And so yes,
You can see behind us as well. The beach is black, but it is absolutely gorgeous.
yes, this is going to be a nice tour. Gabriel, it seems like he knows a lot. We've already got a video of him talking about Sparta, because apparently the Spartans used to be on this island, and he told us the myths and the truth. So it's kind of cool.
Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype. But if you like the movie because of Gerard Butler's abs, I'm not mad at you.
Not mad at you at all.
So it's okay. But just know that, they weren't on a suicide mission. That's what
Yes.
Gabrielle said. Okay.
No, they weren't trying to be dead.
But when Gerard says, "This is Sparta," he meant it. Yes, I'm just telling you.
Don't listen to anything she just said.
Okay, I'm walking on some pebbles now,
But it's still not bad.
but it's not hurting my feet. I took
Yeah.
my swim shoes off.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It is.
So-
a natural exfoliant.
Oh, my feet are being exfoliated right now.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
I'm having a half a pedicure right now.
very much so.
I may not have any polish when I get back. Who knows?
It's beautiful. Now in this island of Santorini, which we'll find out later on what the white is called that.
Yes.
But you cannot drink the water,
Right?
and you cannot cook with it or eat with it. So you have to have bottled water to cook and drink and everything like that. Also, fun fact: you can't flush with toilet paper.
Yeah,
Just
that's
that
really
you
not
know.
that's not a fun fact actually.
It's just a fact.
It's a fact, and it's not a very pleasant one when you think
Yeah.
about it. I mean, I'm not going to mention it, but just think about it.
Yeah. Also, we were told, I was told, let's stand right here. I was told that you're not supposed to flush the toilet in all of Greece, Athens included.
But we did,
Yeah, we did.
and we're going to continue to.
And we're going to.
Just letting you know.
Just
This little
letting you know.
sojourn from civilization was enough of not flushing the toilet.
Exactly.
No, you can flush the toilet.
Toilet, but you can't.
Without toilet paper.
Yeah.
So think about that.
Think hard.
Think hard. What do you do?
All right.
All right.
All right.
Wait.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a large rock. What is that?
Which one?
Right there in
So
front of us.
we're back, guys.
That's the
We're back
reason why
in
we
the
call it
van.
monolith. From the other side, you're going to see that we have a church on the rocks. You're going to see now. We're going
So
to pass
Gabrielle, just so that I can get it on video, tell me the name of that beach again.
Monolithos.
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 Monolithos. Okay. So
Mono in
Mono,
Greek means just
one.
one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Lithos in ancient Greek means stone, rock.
Just one stone.
Yep.
Okay. So guys, that was the name of that lovely beach.
We're going to learn more about Thera
Yes, about Theros, the first king of the island.
and the first king of the island. Who is the first king of the island?
Was.
Was. Yeah, a long time ago. So they continue.
Yes.
All right. So the whole story about the Spartans started because I was trying to explain you why the first king of the island was from Sparta, not from Athens.
Yes.
We Athenians, as I told you from the very beginning, we had the biggest city, the biggest army comparing to the Spartans.
Right.
But the mentality of the Spartans was crazy. Don't forget that all their life they were trained for war.
Yes.
So finally, when they were going for a fight, they had exactly the same feeling that you had when you went to your first party time, war. You know, you don't want to mess with these guys. So usually we Athenians, even though we had the biggest army, we were more philosophers, lovers, not
Yes.
warriors.
Yes.
So usually when you try to avoid a war, what you do is you use some diplomacy.
Yeah. Yes.
That's why Athenians, they gave Santorini to the Spartans as a present.
Ah.
Don't misunderstand me. What they gave them was not the most popular Greek destination that you're visiting today.
Right.
What they gave them was the burnt rock in the middle of the Aegean Sea that my mother used to describe that island. She
Yes.
didn't like it at all.
Yes.
So that's the story. That's why the first king of the island was King Theras. And to give you a romantic story before after warriors and all that, King Theras was married to a very beautiful woman, his wife, his queen, and he was in love with her. That's why he named the most beautiful village on this island after his wife's name.
Santorini.
No.
No, it's a village on the island. We have 14 villages, the most beautiful village.
Okay. What is it?
Oh, we
Yes,
Ia?
yes, yes,
Ia?
yes. That's why I'm not answering the question directly because I want you to think so you can remember the things I'm telling you.
Yes.
Ia.
Ia.
On the map is written as Oia. You're right. O-I-A. But in Greek, O and I is pronounced like E.
Okay.
So you have to pronounce it as Ia.
Ia.
Otherwise, you're going to sound like tourists. Where are you coming from, by the way?
Chattanooga, Tennessee. In the
Okay.
States.
Whiskey.
Yes.
Daniels. Oh,
Yes.
That is true.
all right. And that's worldwide, in Africa, everywhere.
Yeah, everybody knows Jack Daniels.
Of course, of course. So Ia was the name of the beautiful
White
queen.
queen.
Yes.
I told you that story because I want to make sure that you're going to remember the name Thera, which is the Greek name for the whole island.
Yes.
And Ia, the #1 village, the place for the honeymooners, the place for the wedding proposals, and according to Google, the best sunset all over Greece. That's a
Alright.
fairy tale since the sunset is going to be crowded.
Ah, yeah.
The whole island, all the romantics on this island at the same time, they synchronize their watches and they drive to Ia. The result, you go there and you end up by looking at the back of someone else in front of you. And on top the Chinese, which are not that polite, they can push you with a tripod just to play it the way that they like. And the worst part is at the end of the sunset, they start clapping their hands like they're watching opera. So romantic is not the right word.
So is there a better place that would not be as busy, so that we don't go, so that we don't try to do the
I'm going
sunset there?
to show you places. There are some places that you have to be organized. That means that you
Oh.
have to bring your own bottle of wine, Coca-Cola, whatever
yeah,
you want
yeah.
to drink. There are places like Santo Wines. It's a winery.
Yeah, we saw that.
Well,
which
I don't know
has
if we saw
the
that.
best view on the island. Has the best sunset for me.
Ah,
Where you can drink even a
Is
coffee.
it next to the Metaxas?
Metaximas. Metaximas is a taverna for food.
Yeah, but
No.
there was a winery close
it's on the
by
wrong
there.
side because we were there last night at sunset time and we couldn't even see the sun. So
No, from Santo Wines you get a fantastic sunset. We are going to pass from there just to show you the area.
okay.
We are going to climb until the highest spot.
Ah, right.
If you feel like driving, you're going to see the road, you can do it. But there, if we go to the highest spot, you have to go organized. You know what I mean? You have
yes.
to buy whatever you like from a supermarket because there are no restaurants, no bars, no nothing.
Right. Got it.
I'm going to give you different ideas and you decide. But
Ah,
trust
yes.
me, if you
This
want,
is
for
definitely
once you can
Mars.
see a sunset at Ia, but it's going to be too crowded. I have
Yes.
to tell you from the beginning.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
recommend that you visit Ia earlier before the crowds are coming.
Yes.
And you disappear.
That's our plan, is to visit Ia
All
earlier.
right. I'm just trying to explain to you the reason why I'm telling you to do it
I
like this.
totally get that.
So where are we now?
Kamari.
This is
the
Kamari.
village of
We're
Kamari.
coming to Kamari.
Actually, I'm going to drive you until the beach where you can walk. It's nice. You are not going to walk on pebbles or stones. There's a wide path. But I want you to compare that beach with the other one for swimming. This is very nice for walking next to the beach. The other one is for swimming. And since you had your bathing suits and you told me that you want to swim, that's why I drove you there.
Yes, we had it on. I changed already, so that's good. So we've got a lot of shops and little catch and carries and markets
Yeah, a lot of that
here
here.
in Kamari. Bakery shops and pastries.
Oh yes, and also you can visit the bakery. I don't know if you tried the baklava already. Probably you did.
No.
Not here.
You have to try the baklava, but don't ask for the big pieces. Ask for the little bites. We don't have only baklava. We have galaktobureko, we have kandaifi, but the little bites. Each time you grab a bite, it tastes different. It's very nice.
Okay.
A big piece of baklava is too big and too sweet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not that
It's
pleasant.
way too sweet.
I had a little Turkish delight last night. It was too
All
sweet.
right. Oh look, there's a towel. Don't
I know. Oh, it's pretty.
Kamari is more touristic, obviously, than Monolitos. In Monolitos is the place where you go for a swim. That's it. Here you can walk on the path. It's very, very pleasant. Let me try and park somewhere here. All right.
All right, so here we go.
Hey guys, we're on Kamari Beach now, and it's extremely rocky.
Very.
Extremely rocky.
Extremely. It's just the thing.
I think you can see it behind
Let me just show you.
Yeah, Joanna is showing
pebbles.
you. Look at that. Pebbles.
This is the beach versus
And-
what we had
so,
at the other one, Monolithius.
so we're really not going to walk on it because it's not. But we thought we'd let you know.
I mean, it's pretty outside. You can see the behind us, people in the cabanas and everything like that. It's very lovely, right? But
Although I really want you to see this woman right behind me here.
no, let's not be mean.
Ooh, I wasn't being mean.
Yes.
I'm just saying. Sometimes, no, just no. But there's a lot of that here. But,
Actually, I feel like if you feel like you're good with it, I'm good with you.
okay. So we're gonna sign off now.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Doing a quick video so you can see the beach from the other side.
It is absolutely beautiful, but it's just rocks, and it's hurtful on your feet.
Very.
The water where you get into it is really.
And kind of look over here at this backdrop. It's quite beautiful,
It is really beautiful.
but it's very hot. I'm glad I have my water shoes on. So just wanted you to get a look. This rock right here that you're looking at right now, this is where we were 2 years ago. So I have pictures of Alex and I on this rock. I know you're excited. Just want to let you know. Bye.
4,000 inhabitants
So that's the population on this island.
of
24.
the whole island. Yes.
Okay.
24 what?
24,000.
24,000 inhabitants, so not tourists.
No,
People who
inhabitants.
live here themselves.
1/3, that means 8,000 people are immigrants, usually from Albania. Nice people, they are here with their families and they work really hard. Harder than Greeks. And I'm Greek, so you have to believe me. Now, when my friends in Athens, they ask me about the population, when I tell them that 1/3 of the population are immigrants, always the first question they ask me is, wow, how high is your crime rate over there? Unfortunately, in Greece, the last 4 years, we have a lot of immigrants from Syria, Libya. It's a war zone over there.
Yes.
That they pass from the Turkish coast to the Greek islands. They don't come to Santorini because it's far away. They choose islands like Kos, Chios, Lesbos, where the distance from the Turkish coast to the Greek islands is less than 2 miles. I mean,
Wow.
even if you know how to swim, you can do it swimming. Anyway, most of these people, they end up in Athens. Of course, in Athens, the crime rate is real high, 5 million people. Greeks usually, they blame the immigrants. They blame the immigrants for the crime rate, for unemployment. An immigrant can get the job of a Greek with 1/10 of the salary, as you understand. Anyway, so when they hear the story about 1/3 of the population immigrants, always the question is about the crime rate. The crime rate on this island is zero.
Wow.
Wow.
And obviously that's not because we are sweet people and we love God and we have many, many churches. No. What keeps the place safe is the gossip. To give you an example, if you have a younger brother and one day he decides to skip school and go to the playground, immediately one of your neighbors is going to contact you, let you know that your brother never went to school, he's still at the playground.
Wow.
Which is good because you can control your family.
Exactly.
Well, sometimes it can get ugly. I mean, if you're married and one night your husband decides to go with some friends in a bar to watch a soccer game or a football game and have some cold beers, if by any chance it happens that he meets some tourist ladies there and starts talking with them, the same neighbor is going to contact you, let you know where your husband is and what exactly he's doing, which is not the best thing can happen. So, in small communities, not only Santorini, there are advantages and
Yes,
disadvantages.
it's the truth.
One of the biggest advantages is the gossip, especially the older ladies that they have nothing to do. What they do is they stay behind the window, behind the curtains, and look at what time you came home, how you're dressed, like details. They love it.
Oh yeah.
So that's what keeps the place safe.
Ah.
Thank you,
Because
Jesus.
if they saw somebody trying to steal something, they'd probably come out and whack them on the head.
Yeah, the thing is that no one would dare to do that. I mean, most of the cars, okay, the dirty cars belong to the local people. Yeah. If you ask them why your car is dirty, he's going to answer you, I respect water, we don't have any water here. The truth is that they respect the €5 that they need to pay to the garage to clean it up. Anyway, if you see a dirty car, try to open the door. It's always unlocked and the keys are on the ignition. No one would steal a car here. Where he could go? It's an island. Must not be a very smart thief, if you understand what I mean.
Ah.
So, you have your answer why it's safe.
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's good because we left the keys in the door at the
Yeah.
house we left.
Yeah, don't worry. Now, on this island, we have more than 400 churches.
Wow.
For a small island like Santorini, that's too much.
Wow. Yeah.
I could easily tell you that we are strong believers and we love God, but that would be a big lie. Instead, I can give you a few reasonable explanations.
Ah.
Reason number one, you know what? When people are afraid of something, like an active volcano, let's say, that's usually the moment humans remember God. So originally it was the fear of the volcano that made people start building churches all over, praying, asking God to keep the volcano sleeping. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Reason number two, if a family is rich and wealthy, should own a private church. It's a matter of prestige. If I want to make you see how rich I am, I can invite you both to my own private church. Obviously, that does make me a good Christian. It's pure show off. That's what it is.
Yes. Yes.
Sure enough.
Third and most popular reason, I'm going to tell you in a second the third and most popular reason, because first I want you to see on your right hand side, can you see the cherry tomatoes?
Yes.
They grow in the desert without water. Can you see them?
Yes.
I'm going to give you details about the agriculture on this island.
Ah, okay.
Anyway, here we have some weird things growing. The third and most popular reason is that whenever you visit the Greek island, you are going to see that on the Greek islands we have many more churches than the mainland. The reason, before tourism on the Greek islands, most of the men used to be sailors.
Yes.
So on the Greek islands we have many churches dedicated to Saint Nicholas. It's your Santa Claus, but he has nothing to do with Christmas. Saint Nicholas is the protector of the sailors. These were the churches which usually where the families used to go to pray for the father, husband to come back safe and sound. After all, if someone was a sailor at that time, that means that he has to be in the water for many months or even years until he comes back. So that's the answer why so many churches. I hope I'm not making you dizzy with all the stories I'm telling you, but whatever I see, I want to share it with you.
Oh, it's
Yes.
fine.
I'll tell you something honestly now. My job has to do with the cruise ships. I drive
yes.
people around the island with the cruise ships.
Yes.
But usually the people I'm driving around are older people. I don't have nothing against the older people. I have Problem when the first question is at what time is lunch. I mean, if you want to go to a restaurant, take a taxi. It's going to cost you much cheaper,
Exactly.
and go directly to the restaurant. Don't book through a travel agency, a private tour. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, when I am dealing with younger people, probably they suffer a bit because we're going to go up and down. You're going to see what I have in mind, but at the end, you're going to have a complete picture of the island, and that's what I want to do.
Yes, absolutely.
You're going to find out soon that I really enjoy what I'm doing. It's,
Yes.
I think at the end, if I was driving friends of mine, what more I would do. But you give me the opportunity to express myself, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that I don't respect you, but with older people, I don't want to make their life miserable, blah, 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 blah. I talk less. I say the important things and that's it. Yeah.
You
That's
take them to lunch.
yeah.
Going up the mountain, y'all.
Oh, yes. Actually, we are going to drive to the highest spot of the island, where there is the monastery of Prophet Elijah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We're going there for some panoramic pictures, but before that, we are going to drive through the village of Pyrgos. Can you see the village in front of us?
Yes.
It's written Pyrgos. Pyrgos.
There it goes.
Pyrgos in Greek means tower, fortress. This is the oldest and the highest village on this island. It used to be the first capital since it was the first village. As a typical lazy Greek, my first question was, why are crazy ancestors, they had to build their first village so far away from the water? I mean, look at it. Look where Pyrgos is, and I don't know if you can see where the water is. Do you have any idea? That's an interactive
Oh, look,
tour.
this is the restaurant we were at last night.
Metaximas, yes.
Yes.
Down there. Yes, very good restaurant. I like it. The food is excellent.
With Maximus.
This puppy is not very smart. Any idea why our ancestors, they built the first village so far
Because they
away?
have the volcano.
Well, the volcano, if it decides to erupt, just the gas is more than enough.
It's easier to
But it's
defend.
Bravo, protection, obviously.
Yes.
The Aegean Sea at that time was full of pirates.
Yes.
So not only Santorini, if you visit any Greek island and you ask which was the first village built here, which was the first capital, they're going to show you a village located somewhere higher. Why? Because from there they could observe easier the sea, and if they could see a pirate ship approaching, they would start ringing the bells and they were ready to defend themselves. Makes sense, right?
Yes.
Well, the bad news about Pyrgos is it has. I'm going to tell you advantages and disadvantages. I'm not the type of guy who's going to tell you the fantastic, the unique, the breathtaking. No. You have your own eyes, and I want you to judge what you see. Remember what I told you from the beginning. Santorini has a wild beauty. It's not the typical Greek island.
No, it's not.
That's why it's unique. So about Pyrgos, just 2 hotels. All the rest are houses. That means that if you own a house there, every single day you have to carry your groceries, your bottled water up and down. It's just stairs and paths that they go uphill.
Yep.
The good news, you're going to see some older ladies, 80, 85 years old, that carrying groceries and bottled water, they can fly on the stairs. Me just carrying my mobile phone after 30 stairs, I need oxygen. Anyway, probably that's why they live longer, because of the exercise. That's the only
Yes.
reasonable explanation I can give you. Anyway, what if you need to replace your washing machine or your refrigerator?
Oh my.
We are talking about very narrow paths and stairs. You are going to see that next to the main square we have 4 donkeys. They belong to the community of Pyrgos. So in case that you have something heavy, you can use one of these 4 donkeys.
Oh my.
Donkeys
I don't think a donkey can carry a refrigerator.
easily,
Really?
easily.
Wow.
You can't imagine how strong they are. And we have also the mules. Listen, most of the people that they visit the island with the cruise ships, they see the donkeys next to the cable car and they think that it's somehow the local pet of the island. It's not like this. Without the donkeys, you would be visiting a completely different island. Most of the villages are built on the cliffside, where there is no road, no truck can go there.
Right.
So poor donkeys, they had to carry all the materials for construction, bricks, concrete, suitcases, bottled water, whatever you can imagine. We call the donkeys the trucks of the caldera, the trucks of the cliffside. It's the only thing that can fit in these very narrow paths and still go up and down the stairs.
Right.
So most of these buildings that you see around you, including Ia, Fira, Stefani, Merovidi, all the villages on the cliffside, they are built with the help of the donkeys. Otherwise it would be a tragedy.
Wow.
I'm
Do
going
they
to
treat
show
the
you.
donkeys well?
Sorry?
Do they treat the donkeys well?
Well, yes. It's an asset, the donkey. You know, I mean, it makes a lot of money. Donkeys, they work 12 months a year, not just for the season. Winter time, there's a lot of construction going on this island. Just to know, the entrance of Pyrgos is where the people are coming from. I'm going to drive you until the highest spot of the island. It's traditional, it's beautiful, but many stairs. That's why I wanted to ask you if you want me to pull over. Look at the donkeys on your left. Can you see them? So if you own a house there, you can, all four of them are here. No one is busy. I told you there are 4 of them. If you wish, on our way back, I can always pull over, but it's too many stairs and it's hot. That's my personal opinion. But it's your private tour, you can invest your time the way that you like.
No, I don't want to climb those stairs.
Excellent. So what I need you to remember, oldest, highest village, first capital of the island. That's Pyrgos. And the reason, remember, pirates. Now, we are heading to the highest spot of the island. It's exactly where the antennas are. I don't know if you can see the antennas on the left-hand side.
Yes.
That's the monastery of Prophet Elijah. Whenever you are in Greece and you hear the name Prophet Elijah for a church or a monastery, keep in mind that it has to be located somewhere real high. Why? Prophet Elijah himself, he wanted to be as close as possible to God. So always a church or monastery named Prophet Elijah has a fantastic view. That's the reason why we are going there. The monastery itself is not open for the public, since monks were very upset with tourists, especially with the ladies, that they used to visit the monastery wearing their bathing suits. They consider that an insult.
Yeah, well, I would too.
So they had the keys, they locked the gate, and that's it.
But there are still monks up there?
Well, the monastery, as you're going to find out soon, it's quite big. We used to have 38 monks. Let me give you some gossip now. It goes with the tour. That's the only way that you can understand how things are working here. More or less 20 years ago, the local mayor asked the monks if it's possible to place an antenna for telecoms. Yeah, he has his day off or he's on strike. It's a Greek donkey, you see? One of the two. So,
It's on strike.
the mayor asked the monks to place an antenna for telecoms because that's the highest spot of the island for better reception.
Yes.
Of course, the monks said yes. But instead of placing an antenna for telecoms, they placed more than 20 huge antennas plus 2 military bases. The worst part is that one of the 2 military bases has a huge radar which creates a lot of radiation. So they informed the monks that they're going to suffer from cancer because of the radar radiation.
What?
Imagine if someone would dare to build a military base next to your house and then come to inform you that you're going to suffer because of what he built. So we used to have 38 monks living in this big monastery. Now only 7. I want to make myself clear, they didn't die, they left. The 7 that they remain in the monastery, they are strong believers. They believe that God is going to protect them from the radiation, which also I find it a bit ugly, because if scientists are saying that there is radiation, for God's sake. Anyway, you're going to see the monastery is quite big for just 7 monks. It's huge.
Wow.
I repeat once more, I apologize if I talk too much, but that's the idea. I give you privacy at the right places, and then when you are back in the car, you're mine again.
Captive audience.
It's beautiful from here.
Keep in mind, when you go back home in Tennessee, and you show pictures to your friends, they're going to ask you questions.
Exactly.
So I want you to be able to answer any of their questions. That's why use your imagination and ask me if you see something weird. Ask me about that. I promise you I'm going to give you a reasonable explanation.
So the people that are rich, they live in places like this?
The people that they are rich, they have to stay on the cliffside, which is the crazy expensive part of the island. But even the rich people that they own cave houses on the cliffside, they don't decide to stay that side because taxes are real high. They prefer to convert that in a studio or an apartment where they can get a huge income and still can pay the taxes and have a big profit. So even the rich people, they stay in secondary areas and they use the cave houses as luxury apartments or studios.
Yep.
So where is the place where they stay? Is it not this side? Is somewhere else?
This side, there are some local people that they are staying, but they can be everywhere. They can be on the beach, they can be on the cliff.
So where is the cliffs? On the other
The
side of the
cliffside,
island?
yes, the cliffside is in the inner part of the half moon. The inner part of the half moon. Now the
Oh,
cliffs,
okay.
the outer part of the half moon is the beach. Actually, I'm going to pull over in a place where you can see the whole island, so you can understand what I'm talking about. So you can understand the shape of the island, how it used to be round.
Okay.
That's the idea.
Like that. We are on a cliff, guys. It is huge. Wow.
Since you're driving in cars, as I heard, drive carefully. Greeks are not the best drivers in the world. I believe that we are the worst drivers in the world until I've seen the Chinese drivers. We have competition, I have to admit. They're
Well,
unpredictable.
yeah.
Unpredictable, that's what they are.
Oh wait, sorry. This is absolutely beautiful. The vantage point of where we are. Can you believe it? We're on the top of a road. It's huge. This is how high we are. Yo.
You can see some of the antennas on your left-hand side.
Wow.
They are a bit
So
ugly.
why did they lie to the monks like that? Why didn't they just tell them the truth?
If you want to know my personal opinion now,
Yes, I want to know your personal.
the Greek Orthodox Church has a lot of power. So I believe some people from the highest authority of the Greek Orthodox Church, they took some money, so they agreed. Otherwise, the Greek Orthodox Church has the power to change the government. So that's the only reason I can give you. That
Okay.
makes sense. I repeat, that's my personal opinion, of course.
Yes.
This is one of the most ridiculous signs on the island. I don't know if you can see the blue sign over there. That writes military
Military
area.
area taking
Taking-
pictures is
yeah.
prohibited.
The only reason we are here is for the pictures, as you understand. That's what I told you.
So it's kind of ridiculous.
Everybody's here for the pictures, right? But,
Yeah. Well, one of the military bases is straight ahead on your left. Can you see the stop sign there?
Uh-huh.
And the second one is right on top. As you can see, we are driving a very small
And we're
car.
gonna run over some Asians.
Oh yeah, well,
A lot of Asians, it looks like.
the only reason I hit my brakes is because we Greeks are superstitious people. So if you squeeze a Japanese or a Chinese guy, it brings bad luck.
Ah,
What about a British person and an American person? That's funny.
Can you see how big is the monastery?
yeah.
Just 7 months.
so we were.
I wouldn't like to stay here for a night. I mean, here it's the highest spot of the island, 567 meters above the sea level.
Wow.
That's a windy island. So when you have here, it's more or less always a bit windy. When we
Yeah.
have a windy day, it makes a lot of aerodynamic noises. You know, woo woo. It's like Count Dracula's castle, if you know what I mean. Let me do something smart now. That's the view. We're going out for some pictures. That's the reason why I drove you here.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, hey guys.
Hi.
So it's Wendy and Joanna, and I'm trying to show you behind us here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So
So-
we are at the highest point in Santorini.
We're getting there.
The monastery.
No, yeah, at the monastery.
Monastery is, I would say,
Yeah,
of Prophet Elijah.
Prophet Elijah. And the reason why it's the highest point because they believe that Prophet Elijah wanted to be closest to God. So therefore, he has the highest point on the island. However, there's also a lot of wiring, a lot of radiation, supposedly,
Military base.
military bases, and etc. etc.
Okay, so we'll just take one picture.
And you
hear
saw
all the
where I put it
details.
in the video, so
All
that
right.
we did about the information that you gave.
Whenever you're ready, I can start.
Start.
All right.
Go.
So the first thing that I learned on this island when I first came 28 years ago was that I have to respect the water. Since it never rains. It rains 20, 25 times a year and that's it.
Wow.
That's why all the houses and the hotels, they have a system on the roof. Whenever it rains, they collect that water into cisterns, which usually are underground. And even in case that we have a good rainy season and your cistern is full of water, which is very rare to happen.
So is that why there's the rounded dome tops for the houses?
No. This is different. The arch-shaped roof that you are talking about, if you ask an architect, he's going to tell you that it lets the air circulate much easier in the house and keeps it cooler. But that's modern architect. We found it like this from our ancestors a long time ago. So the reason that they used to build the arch-shaped roof was simply Greece is a country where earthquakes is something real common, especially if you live next to an active volcano. So a square roof, in case of an earthquake, can fall. An arch-shaped roof, it can break, but it's impossible to fall.
Oh.
So as you can see, ancient Greeks were very smart people.
Yes.
I don't know what happened later on with us. Maybe the food, the water, too much wine, but something went wrong.
Probably too much wine.
So the only thing we are proud of are our ancestors, to tell you the truth. Anyway, that's the reason for the arch-shaped roof. Back to the story about the water.
Yes.
So, if you have a 4-member family, even in case that your cistern is full of water, after a month your cistern is going to be empty. In that case, what you do, you pick up the phone and you call for the water trucks. These are big tanker trucks that they come and they refill your cistern. The price is not that bad. It starts from 30 euros and can go up to 40 euros. It depends how far is your house from the village of Monolithos, where the airport is. That's where we have the wells, the trees for the water.
Got it.
So if you stay in a village near Monolithos, you just pay 30 euros to refill your cistern. If you stay far, you pay 40 euros, which is not that bad. So this way, you and your 4-member family will have water for another month. Except Ia, the village that you decided to visit for your lunch. Ia has its own desalinization plant. That means that they take the seawater and they convert that into sweet water. By the way, the desalinization plant itself was a donation from a very rich Greek family, ship owners. The name is Alafouzos. So in Ia, they have the water that they need. The
That's where the most tourists are, right?
yeah, the procedure is quite expensive, but who cares? They need water, they have water.
Right.
So this is the story about the water. It's a sad story because it never rains. That's why
Right.
when I first came
Is that
to this,
in all of Greece? Because I noticed in Athens it's kind of dry as well.
no,
Not
in
as dry.
Athens it can rain cats and dogs.
Okay.
We are talking about it there, completely different climate. We have rains in Athens, not here.
Yeah.
So when I first came on this island, I saw a weird bush on the ground, which was green, which is very. Can you see
Yes.
the bush on your right?
Oh yeah.
So I asked my friends, what kind of a bush is this one that can stay green on an island without water? The answer was vineyards, grapevines.
Oh.
For me, it was a big shock because I can guarantee you, we Greeks from ancient history, we love wine. So no matter where you travel in Greece, you are going to see that we grow vineyards, but in a completely different way. We let them grow high, so actually grapes are hanging. That's why at the beginning I thought it was a silly joke by my friends because I've never seen vineyards that they look like a bush on the ground.
Yeah.
So I asked them, how and why you do it like this? They gave me 2 very good reasons. Santorini is a very windy island.
Oh, yeah.
So if they let the grapes grow high, the same way like we do all over Greece, wind would destroy them immediately. How they do it? They take the branch and instead of putting a wood, let it grow high, they trim it nicely round and round, creating a basket. We call it a nest. So the grapes grow inside the basket. This way they are protected from the wind, first of all. I understood that and it makes sense. My second big question was, who is watering these poor plants?
Yes.
We don't have water for humans. How you can water all these plants? The answer was simple. There's no irrigation for them. If you would tell me 29 years ago that you can get grapes without water, I would tell you that probably you tried too much ouzo. You know ouzo? The licorice
Yes.
flavor, high alcohol. I mean, grapes is water.
Exactly.
How they do it? These plants are adapted to the climate. That means that they know the way how to absorb water from the humidity from the moisture in the air. All the water that gets vaporized during daytime from the Aegean Sea, and I repeat, in August we have temperatures around 40 degrees Celsius. At night, after sunset, if you look the roof of your car or the seats of the scooters and four-wheelers, they are always wet.
Oh,
That's the water that they can absorb.
so they have the dew that falls in the morning.
Exactly. Now, in case that you are thinking, what if we take a grapevine from here back in Tennessee to show your friends that you can grow vineyards on your garden, that they need no water? You look like a magician. Probably they would die. The reason, you see grapes. Can you see the grapes in there?
Yes, I saw a guy with
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I saw a guy when we were at one of the restaurants driving to. I saw him coming and looking at that, but I didn't know what it was. I knew it was some kind of
Picking up
something,
grapes.
but yeah.
So what I wanted to tell you is that I told you that if you try to grow vineyards from Santorini in Tennessee, they would die simply because they need the volcanic soil. The volcanic soil is very rich in pumice stone. You know pumice stone that we use in the bathroom sometimes for our feet?
Yeah.
Pumice works like a sponge that we use in the shower. Keeps the water, keeps the humidity. Without the pumice stone, it's impossible to keep the water. So, you are going to find out soon that more than half of this island is, and then August you've got harvest. It can't get any easier than that.
So you trim them twice a year?
Twice a year. Very easy job. Very easy job. Okay, it's not that difficult. You
So
don't have
what
to water
are
them.
they pulling them out of the ground to trim them? Or are they
No,
trimming them
as it is on the ground, they take the branch and they trim the things that they try to escape. So they want to keep the round shape, you know, the basket shape. You know, as it is, they don't let it go to the right, to the left. They trim it more, they cut the edges so to keep the round shape.
Ah.
As easy it is to grow the vineyards, as difficult is harvest. Don't forget that the grapes grow inside the basket, right on the ground. So to pick up the grapes in August, you have to go on your knees. And being on your knees under the hot sun of August, 40 degrees Celsius, is not anymore a job. It's more like a torture.
Oh, sounds not fun at all.
1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 of them, they are here, as you can see. Yeah.
Nobody needs them right now. Oh,
So,
no, lady. Good Lord.
remember that I told you if she continues doing that, she's going to end up
American,
in the
you can tell
hospital,
she
and
is.
it's a bit primitive, the hospital here, so it's a good idea. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you is that, remember the story I told you earlier that we have 24,000 inhabitants, but 1/3 are immigrants, usually from
Yes.
Albania?
Yes.
Since we Greeks were born to become managers and directors, guess who's doing the dirty job?
Oh,
The
the
immigrants.
Albanians.
From the other side, the last 9 years, as you know, Greece entered the Greek economic crisis, right?
Right.
You've heard about that.
Yes.
Unemployment is real high all over Greece. Not on Santorini. Santorini, it's a Greek island, but it's like visiting Monaco. We have a different economy here.
Okay.
Obviously, our heavy industry is tourism, and beside that, we export also a lot of wine. Even though unemployment is high, try to get a Greek to come here and pick up your grapes. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to tell you. I want you to understand things, you know what I mean?
We totally understand.
Yeah.
It's like in the States, the Mexicans.
Yes.
Yes.
And you
yes.
can't complain after that we have unemployment. If no one is willing to do that, someone has to do that.
Yes.
Anyway, our next stop is going to be Santo Wines Winery. It's one of the biggest wineries on this island. It's not the top quality wine, to be honest, but they have the best view.
Ah.
So actually I'm driving there for the view.
So
now I
this
hope
is
that-
all wine.
Yeah, vineyards everywhere, whatever you see.
This is vineyards. I
Whatever
saw
is
quite a
green.
few.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were. So
Vineyards.
that's a vineyard.
At the beginning I didn't know either. I thought it was just a green bush.
But I could see that there was a formation to them, so I
Yes.
knew that was something that they were growing.
That's-
But I didn't know that they could grow vineyards in the ground.
That was the first time in my life that I've seen vineyards on the ground, but they look like a bush. Anyway, what I wanted
vineyards right here.
to tell you, we have 12 big wineries on this island. But beside the wineries, every single house here makes its own wine. And every family claims that they have a family secret of making the best wine on the island, you know.
Of course.
Greeks always the best, that's how it works.
Always.
Now, the winery we're about to visit, it has a fantastic view, and it has also a huge balcony on the cliffside where they perform a lot of weddings. It's a wedding area.
Oh.
Also, now I might sound a bit ugly. In Greece, avoid the public bathrooms. For example, that's why I told you if you want to visit the bath, take your pictures. Before we leave, you can visit the bathroom here. It's free of charge and it's clean and decent.
Ah, nice.
All right, sorry about that, but I'm trying to protect you, not to sound ugly.
So at the house that we stayed at,
Yeah.
they indicated that we were not to flush any of the toilet paper or anything.
Yes.
Would it be the same here?
Yeah, more or less, we do it all over the island because
Oh,
Okay.
plumbing here it's a sad story, you know. I mean, that's why they don't want to have any issues. That's why they put the little baskets next to us to throw the paper. I know it's not that romantic, but we have that problem on the island.
what problem is that?
With the sewage systems, we don't have the right sewage systems like we have in Athens, you know, big.
Yeah.
tubes. Here it's very small and it can create a problem if you throw papers there.
Okay.
Now, do you see that door on your left hand side, the door in the middle of nowhere?
Yes.
If I was driving a white limo, I had to pull over in front of that door. Outside the door, normally there are two musicians with violins and the photographer in the middle giving information to the bride. If the bride is rich, crazy rich, and she wants to make sure that everyone understands that she is rich, instead of using the white limo, the Mercedes, she can land at the helipad. Can you see the four-wheelers where they are parked?
Oh my God.
That's a helipad. Some gossip. The helicopter is impressive.
I bet.
The bad news, brides, they pay a lot of money to the hairdresser to fix the hair, and then the helicopter, at the end, she looks like a witch. That's the truth. Let's go out and take some interesting.
Hi,
Hello.
it's Wendy and Joanna again.
We're at the Santo
Not
Winery.
Santos, but Santo
Yeah,
Winery.
it should be Santos, but you know what? We're not going to differ with one letter.
It
But
has,
it's
if you look behind us, you can see, kind of rotated a little bit, Joanna.
yeah,
See a lovely view, right?
yeah.
This is where we are thinking, because we have a smart guide and we are smart, that we will possibly try to do the sunset stuff.
Yes.
Because it will be way less busy than Ia.
Yeah.
We will try to get ourselves to Ia so we can see it before everybody else and their mother is there. So there you
Yes.
go. So
Yeah.
this is where we are right now. We're
This is-
continuing the tour.
Yeah. Also, this is one of the local bridal spots. So this is where a lot of people get married. There's a helicopter pad,
Helipad, yeah.
and there's a door. Let me see if I can show you.
Yeah, let's see. Can we see the door?
Is the door there? It's just
Pretty far down.
a singular door. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just a door, and they usually go in there and they
There are musicians and
yes,
stuff.
and snacks and different things. That I guess they
Usually a
don't
white limo, he told us, pulls up. But if you're really wealthy, you get
Get
the
the helip-
helipad. You arrive at a helicopter. But funny story, he
they
said,
look
you know,
like
you get your hair
peacocks.
all done, right? But then you get out of the helicopter, and the rotors, of course, are still going. So your hair is then completely messed up. So
Totally,
you have to
completely.
plan for that. Probably 7-8 bottles of hairspray involved
Yes.
with that. But you know, or
Yes.
shellac. I don't know.
yeah. Ooh, a shellac. I like that.
Shellac, right?
Shellac.
Totally.
That's the word of the day. Shellac.
Yeah.
But
Or
or-
if you're really wealthy, you get off the. Well, no, that wouldn't work because you have to be ready when you get off the helicopter.
Right.
So,
Either
you know.
one. I mean, maybe they can stop spinning the stuff, and they
Yeah.
will. If they're really wealthy, you'll rent it for the whole time, and the helicopter thing stops spinning. You come in a little early.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know.
But it is hot as a mug.
I wouldn't be doing it. Yes, it's below 80 degrees,
It's 76 today.
but it is very
But
hot
it is
because of
hot.
the sun.
But the breeze is wonderful. You can feel the breeze everywhere you go. It's gorgeous.
Joanna is trying to get like my moon face.
Oh,
in this
sorry.
whole thing here. Thank you.
So yes, so the breeze is absolutely fantastic, awesome. But this place is absolutely gorgeous. We're not wine drinkers, but we just had to come because we had to see the view and see where we were going to see the sunset. So
Yes.
Lord Jesus, help us to find directions to this place. Amen.
right.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Remember the half moon. We are going to start from one end, which is Akrotiri, and you're going to end up at the other end, which is Ia.
Yes.
What Akrotiri means in Greek? Akrotiri means cape, like we say Cape Canaveral.
Ah, yes.
Akrotiri became famous after 1967. Until 1967, the reason, until 1967 we were 100% sure that there were no people living on this island when the island was a full moon. Remember the Strongili Island?
Okay.
Suddenly, a very famous Greek archaeologist, his name was Spiros Marinatos, he found a buried city right next to the modern village of Akrotiri.
Oh.
That's why we call it the prehistoric city of Akrotiri, to make the difference between the modern and the prehistoric village. We are talking about a huge city which was built at least 4,000 years ago.
Wow.
It was a big shock because suddenly we realized that there were people living on this island when the island was a full moon. Until then we were 100% sure that no one had died during the big eruption of the volcano because we thought that there were no people living here.
Right.
We are talking about a huge city with a very advanced technology. We are talking about double-story buildings with bathtubs, sewer system. I mean, come on, 4,000 years ago, double-story
the
buildings,
Romans?
yeah. Whenever archaeologists, they don't have the right answers, and there is no answer how it could be possible these guys to have the knowledge to build a double-story building with a sewer system, even a kind of flush toilet.
Wow.
I mean, it's breathtaking, the technology. That's when the myths are starting. That's why you might have heard the myth about the lost Atlantis.
Oh.
I want to make myself clear. Atlantis remains lost even today. Yes, we don't have any answer how it was possible that these guys they had that advanced technology. Also, what makes the whole situation more weird is that they didn't find any human remains.
Oh.
No skeletons were found in that big city. You've heard about Pompeii in Italy?
Yes, I've been there.
Oh, you've been there. Pompeii was buried under the volcanic ash, but they found the city also with the people.
Yes.
Here they found the city without the people.
Oh.
Well, if you talk with the local fishermen, you're going to hear stories about the aliens, UFOs, you name it. You know, the Greek fishermen are the worldwide biggest liars. The truth is much more simple, and I have an answer to give you about that. Obviously, there were people living in this big city, but before the big eruption of the volcano, they had some warnings. I'm talking about some real strong earthquakes. Okay, they were ancient people, but they could feel that something was going really wrong. They could feel that the earth was trembling, smoke was coming out from the land. They knew that something bad was happening. And simply, they were very lucky. Not like the people in Pompeii where the volcano erupted just like that and killed them instantly. Here they had the warnings and the time to pack their things, take the ships, leave the island. That's why archaeologists they didn't find any wreck from ships around the island. So we are 100% sure that our lucky ancestors, they managed to escape before the big boom, the big eruption.
Right.
That's what we know for sure. What we don't know is if they made it. Probably they didn't. The tsunamis created from the eruption of the volcano were so big that destroyed the Minoan civilization. All the palaces in Crete, on the island of Crete, were totally destroyed because of the tsunamis. So even though our ancestors they had a very advanced technology, at that time there were no hydrofoils, no speedboats. So probably our ancestors were caught by the tsunamis somewhere in the Aegean Sea. We never had news from them. They are missing in action even today. It's worth visiting. The only disadvantage is that I can't escort you in there. You have to be an archaeologist. Well, I would really love to escort you there because I could explain the things there. What I recommend, off the record, follow a group with an English talking guide. You're going to hear the whole story for free. Otherwise, if you ask what they charge, it's like mafia, you know what I mean. You need an archaeologist.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not an archaeologist. I'm going to drive you there, but follow my advice. Do it the Greek way.
Okay.
This is the bakery.
So, hi everybody. Here's Joanna in line at this bakery with her ice cream. This is my ice cream. It's lovely. I'm just going to kind of show you the bakery a little bit. So I'm standing in front of this case of very delectable sweets. We got some stuff here. A lot of bread, more sweets, some more things. Now we're going to buy our stuff. I just want to let you get a glimpse.
Hello.
Hi, I'm gonna put my sunglasses on.
It's not that.
It is.
It is not.
My future's so bright I have to wear shades.
We've got Demetrius in the background. And so what had happened was we were going to go to the ruins,
Akrotiri,
Akateria.
the prehistoric, right?
Okay.
Village of Akrotiri.
She knows all about this,
Yes.
right? I just
But-
know it's a bunch of old buildings.
But it was very old, like over
Prehistoric.
3,500 years old. That's how old.
BC.
Yes. So,
Okay.
but it's really hot.
So what she
And our
had
tour,
said
our
was,
tour will be over at 3:30. So we kind of wanted to have a little bit more of the tour when we were done. So we
So,
did this. We did this. We
so
bought
what she's not telling you is
this book.
that she said no
This book.
because it was too hot. She was like, no. There's no way I'm going to do it. So Dimitri is in the back of us, and he kind of knows a little bit of stuff of what's going on in the thing. So Demetrius. So because your friends call you they call him Demetrius. I'm just saying. Demetrius, how long does it take to do the tour?
It's about 30 minutes. Just
Okay.
walk around.
And what's the tour of?
You will see a prehistoric settlement. Imagine you will find houses from 3,500 years before Christ. So it would be something amazing. Imagine 3-story buildings. You could find a toilet in the second floor, stuff like this.
Toilet in the second floor, y'all. 35,000 or 3,500?
3,500 years.
3,500 years ago, toilets,
The second
technology on the second floor. That's a lot of stuff to drop. I'm just saying. Demetrius is laughing, so you know this is true. He thought about it himself. So, so anything else that was unusual about that era and time?
No, everything was normal. Why?
Everything was normal. I'm talking about that preceded what we do today. That was more
They
technological.
were too similar to us now.
They're too similar.
This is the fact we don't even understand.
Our minds are boggled.
That they are something different.
they could be
something like
so-
caveman. No.
That we're not cavemen. We already know there's an intelligent design. There's a God, there's a Father. So I'm just saying, He didn't make stupid people. Anyway, go ahead.
But what was the other interesting thing that our tour guide was telling us is that when they uncovered the city, they didn't find any remains, any human remains.
Yes.
So for a long time, it was, wow, where did they go, right? Because apparently, for a long time, it was thought that no one was living here during the eruption, right? And then they found the remains, or excavated the remains of the city, but then they didn't find any human remains. So they're like, oh, well, where did they go?
So where do you think they went, Demetrius?
Where they are now? Maybe they fled the city and they are in the sea right now. Maybe they're stuck on the island, maybe in the south part.
So they're obviously dead, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
I just want to
way
make
they're-
sure
yeah.
that they were dead.
Imagine a
Yeah, I'm
tsunami.
pretty
They're
sure
not
they're
living
very dead.
3,500 years. I just want to make sure. So,
Imagine some Walking Dead around.
yes, Walking
But the
Dead.
idea is, right, that they were very advanced
They
and
knew what was happening.
that they knew
so
what was
they fled.
happening, right? That they found that they had some earthquakes and they knew we need to get out of here, and they just whoop, evaporated,
Exactly.
right?
It was happening all the time. They didn't know, of course, that it would be such an explosion. Who would knew?
Okay, yeah, that who would know, right? But they obviously were technologically advanced enough to feel the earthquake and to know what to do.
Exactly.
So you
Really?
feel like they left the island
Before the explosion.
Okay.
Clearly, they were a whole lot smarter than the Pompeians.
It's
Well,
1,000 years older also.
Oh, ooh,
I'm sorry.
say that.
what?
This is 1,000 years older than Pompeii, just so you know.
History has been made. And he's on his phone speaking Greek. So, history
yeah.
has been made. We are now in the shopping area because, you know,
So I've seen
Shopping.
Pompeii, I've seen plumbing from the Romans and toilets and all that stuff. So.
it wasn't as advanced. Was it as advanced, do you think, as this one? Because it's on the second floor of this one?
That's a good question. I don't know, but this one I'm gonna skip today. But I bought a book. I'm gonna look at all those pictures. I don't know that I'll read the book, but I will look at all the pictures.
And read what the captions
Yes,
underneath
I
the
will do that.
pictures.
Yes, I will. And I'll put it on the shelf.
For
For
it to gather.
posterity.
And for posterity.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
if you Google that, if you type Greek vampire islands, you're going
And that's
to see
vampire, like,
vampire,
Dracula.
Count Dracula. Yeah.
okay.
You're going to find out that Santorini is one of those.
Okay.
Some people, usually from the States, they are willing to believe everything. They think that we
Yes.
have real vampires here.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
we don't. It belongs to the vampire islands, but the story is completely different. In Greece, as I told you earlier, our religion is Christian Orthodox.
Yes.
So, cremation is not an option in the Greek Orthodox Church.
I didn't know that.
I did not know that either.
Even people that they like the cremation, when they are dead obviously,
Yeah.
the family has to make a very long, sad trip until Bulgaria, Romania, because here it's not possible to do that. Of course, if you decide the cremation, no priest is going to give you the blessing for the next life. You know what I mean? The Greek Orthodox Church is a bit selfish.
Oh.
So, if someone wants the cremation, that means very expensive and a very long, sad trip until Bulgaria or Romania. So always, in simple words, we bury our dead people from ancient history.
Oh,
Now, the problem.
yes.
Islands like Santorini, as I told you in Akrotiri, the ruins are so well preserved because it was under the volcanic soil. The volcanic soil preserves things. But I'm trying to tell you in a nice way. I don't know if I'm succeeding. I don't
Mummies.
know. The procedure, if you bury a dead person, after 5 years, they open the grave, they collect the bones, they put it in a box and they give it to church. Of course, you'll give a little something to the church to keep the bones, holy ground.
Yeah.
On an island like Santorini, the whole procedure takes longer because simply the soil is volcanic, preserve things. So centuries ago, not now, centuries ago, when they were opening a grave to collect the bones, they could see that the person was still there waving at them. So, simple explanation. Vampire.
Oh.
The normal procedure, a piece of wood, hammer, the poor guy was never a vampire, it was the soil that was preserving the body.
Wow.
Now we know, but I repeat, that story started a long time ago.
So it wouldn't be bones? It would be the whole body that was preserved?
Yes, because it takes longer the procedure to visit. I don't want to go in specific subjects. The whole procedure. If you bury a dead body, normally in 5 years it's just the bones. The flesh is missing.
Right.
But if the soil preserves things,
Yeah.
it takes longer. The whole procedure.
Oh. So do they have burial grounds on Santorini?
Of course.
Is it a
You-
specific area?
Yes, well, usually they are behind the churches. You can see them because you can see the church at the front. This is a touristic island. The last thing people
Yes.
want to see is cemeteries.
Yes.
So the cemeteries, yes, of course we have. We don't throw them in the water. We bury them in the
I thought
cemetery.
actually I was going to ask you if you threw them in the water, but
No. We bury our dead people.
Okay. That's good.
not a Viking death, obviously.
No.
Lighting them on fire, in the ocean.
No.
All right, that's good.
In ancient Greece, they were burning them. It was accepted at that time, but at that time we believed that the 12 gods of Olympus. So they were
Exactly.
putting 2 coins on the eyes and piece of wood and the body on top, and they were burning that. But I'm talking about the Christian Orthodox Church, which the majority by far in Greece is Christian Orthodox. I have a question to ask you.
Yes.
2 choices.
Okay.
Or we visit a fantastic primitive village here, which is Plichada. It's not that touristic. It has a little port with fishermen and yachts, one next to the other. You can see the nets and everything. Something authentic. Or
Okay.
the most popular beach with beach bars.
We've seen beaches already.
Yeah, no.
okay.
Take us to the.
All right, I want you to see something before I start driving you back from Plichada
Yes.
to your place.
Yes, thank you.
It's my pleasure. I was thinking it's one of my favorite places. It's not that touristic, it's not advertised, but it's authentic.
Ah, that would be nice.
I'm all about that authentic.
Did you eat your thing already?
Girl, I was still talking.
Huh? Did you say it was already torn up?
When we start details about the typical dishes on the island.
Oh, business?
Dishes, typical dish, food,
Dishes.
dishes. Sorry if my English sounds a bit Afrikaans, but my father used to live in South Africa,
Oh,
so I
that's-
have maybe a strange accent.
No, you're good. So, okay, so Grigos Bakery is one of the
Grigoris.
best. Grigoris.
One of the biggest that supplies smaller bakeries. So
This is a beautiful bakery and they had some good stuff. And their ice cream was to die for.
I'm very, very happy to hear that.
Okay, and so now we're going where?
Vlihada, at the village of Vlihada.
Vilhada?
Try to-
Vlihada.
don't
It's
try to say it.
Vlihada. Vlihada.
Vilhada.
Vlihada. Yeah, it sounds a bit Arab, but it's
Yes, it does. Sounds a little bit Arab. Is there any more places around Santorini that sound, whether Italian or Spanish kind of, or
Actually, Scaros is a castle at Imerovili. It's Italian, the name.
okay?
But the most characteristic is the name of the island.
Yes.
You see, it's written Vlihada. Can you see there?
Oh, yeah.
Vlihada. I repeat once more. Not a touristic area, but very beautiful.
So, did I read correctly that Santorini is 29 is it meters or miles across from one end to the other?
29 kilometers.
Kilometers.
Yes.
Okay.
In Greece, we counted kilometers, not in miles, and meters, not feet.
Okay.
So what's 29 kilometers in miles?
When we pull over, I'm going to convert that. I'm going to use my converter on the mobile phone. You don't want me to do it while I'm driving. It's not
No, no.
yeah.
Okay. And how is it? Is it most of Greece, pretty all of Greece, or Santorini itself that drives on the right side of the road? Most of Europe drives on the other side.
No, you're wrong. It's only England, Germany, France, Italy. They drive at the same side where we drive now. It's just England, Africa, Australia that they drive at the opposite side.
Okay. All right.
You drive the same way in the States, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
Yes.
But
Earlier this year, I went to the Grand Caymans, and they do drive on the other side.
even in Cyprus, if you go in Cyprus, they drive at the opposite side.
Really, Cyprus.
Yep. Now, do you see these round buildings on top of the hill?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me tell you a short story.
Oh, look at that. I didn't.
Today you are visiting the most popular Greek destination, that's Santorini, the #1 Greek island. But 40 years ago, this used to be a very, very poor island. When I say poor, I mean that people were starving here.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't know what butter is. They had to send their children to Athens to find a job, cleaning houses, whatever, so they could support the parents back here.
Wow.
At that time, the expensive part of the island was the beach side, where only the captain of the ships they could afford to build a house there. For the poor crew members of the ships and the donkeys, we had the caves on the cliffside. What became today the deluxe apartments that you pay thousands per night, with the outside jacuzzi. 40 years ago used to be a stable for a donkey.
Oh, nice.
That's just to show you that God has a very strange sense of humor. Anyway, at that time, people would trade 1 acre of land just for a goat, you know, meh.
Wow.
And that's not the only thing. If they were succeeding in that kind of trading, then they were making fun with a crazy guy from Athens who gave them a goat for a useless piece of land, volcanic. No one could predict that suddenly we are going to have tourism here.
Right.
I don't need to tell you whoever did that kind of trading with a goat at that time is still crying because
Yes.
now land is crazy expensive.
Uh-huh.
So today it's the opposite way. The cliffside is the expensive area and the beach side is the cheaper area.
Wow.
Things changed.
Yeah.
So I started giving you information about the windmills. We used to have many windmills here. Why? When the island was poor, it was cheaper for the people here to buy, let's say, corn from Crete and grain it to flour by using the free wind power of the island. I mean, that's a very windy island. Now, most of the windmills are abandoned or converted into double-story apartments, simply because, trust me, they can afford to buy directly flour. That's a crazy rich island today.
Yes.
So that's the reason why you've seen so many
Abandoned
windmills.
windmills. Okay.
I didn't see any windmills. Have you seen any
That's what
windmills?
those were. That's what he was showing us.
Oh,
the round.
the round?
Yeah.
Okay, so were they with the base of the windmill? Is that what that was? Oh, look. Somebody's house. or something.
Ooh, what's this? Is this somebody's house right here?
They are building a hotel,
Oh,
and the name is this.
Santorini.
It's gonna be a hotel.
Oh boy.
But as you can see,
Quite
that
pretty.
area is a bit different from the other villages.
Are these vines as well?
Yes, yes.
Vine,
Whatever
vines,
you see green without
everything?
question, except the cherry tomatoes, that they grow the same way like the grapevines, without water.
Wow.
They are very tasty. I strongly recommend if you're going for
Yeah,
lunch.
we already had some at the Metaxas.
Metaximas. Okay. I know Greek language is difficult. Metaximas.
The Metaximas, yeah.
Metaximas in Greek means between us.
Between
Oh.
us?
Yep.
Okay.
Metaximas means between us.
Nice.
Now I see like there's some like buildings that are kind of like abandoned, and I heard that you guys had an earthquake or something.
Very good question. Okay, some buildings are abandoned, some other are unfinished and no one is working on them. Did you
Well, like
notice
even
that?
next to that
Yeah.
Metaxas place, there was an abandoned building
All
right
right.
next door.
Okay, let me explain to you a few things. First of all, some people, if they want to build, they need a license, which is quite expensive here. There is a lot of construction going on this island. What you see is unfinished buildings everywhere, and no one is working on them.
Right.
If it was, sorry, if it was any other part of Greece, I would tell you that's because of the Greek economic crisis. Taxes are real high, salaries are small,
Yes.
so people, they had to stop. But this is Santorini. Obviously it's a Greek island, but it's like visiting Monaco, a different country. We have a different economy here.
Okay.
Obviously because our heavy industry is tourism. So the economy is not the problem. Why so many unfinished buildings? As usually, I can give you more than one reason. Reason number one, builders at summertime, they're much more expensive than at wintertime, simply because at summertime, they can
I
get
see.
a job with tourism, better and easier money. Makes sense, right?
Yes.
Reason number two, it's not very polite as you're staying in your beautiful hotel, suddenly your neighbor next door decides to do some repairs, or even worse, start building a new hotel, creating a lot of noise and a lot of dust. It's like no respecting the guests that they already stay on the island.
Okay.
Third and most popular reason is that land usually belongs to the older people, let's say to the father of the family. Older people, they don't like the idea of getting a loan from the bank because they're afraid if they're not able to pay the payments, the bank is going to confiscate the house or the hotel that they built.
Oh.
So how they do it? They start always at winter time with cash money in the pocket. Look at the nets and the fishing boats. Can you see that? That's why I
Wow.
drove you here. I'm going to pull over so you can take some pictures between the traditional kayaks, the fishing boats, and the fancy yachts. So, as I told you, they start at winter time with cash money in the pocket when builders are much, much cheaper. When they run out of money, they stop, they quit. They work for the season and they continue next winter. But this might take up to 5 or 6 years until they finish. There is a big chance that the older son of the family might say, Dad, for God's sake, let's take a loan from the bank, we finish the hotel, we have a decent profit, and we are going to be able to pay the payments. In that case, the answer of the father goes like this: my son, whenever you have your own land, you can do whatever you like. This is my land, end of story. Democracy invented by Greeks, what do you expect? And I can even give you a fourth reason. The magic word is dowry.
Dowry.
Dowry. If a family has a newborn child, which happens to be a girl, then that means that they have to do some savings. So by the 1 year they buy the bricks, next year they buy the concrete. So by the time she's ready to get married, she owns her dowry, a house. If the family cannot afford another piece of land, what they do is they expand the original family house. That's why some of the houses, they look like 2 or 3 of them connected somehow. Originally, it was a family house, the guy had 2 daughters, so he needed to expand. In any case, if you're a man, it's good news, you don't pay rent, free house. The bad news is the second story I told you, if they upgrade the family house. I don't know how it's back in Tennessee, but here in Greece, the last thing you want is to stay at the same neighborhood with your mother-in-law. Imagine if she lives next door. Do you understand my point?
Yes.
Or if you wish, you can take some pictures. That's why.
We are here at one of the ports, the fishermen ports. Lady with her cute itself and I. She's so cute. It is absolutely gorgeous. This is what you think about when you think of the island of Greece and Santorini, right? I mean, I know the sisters with the traveling pants and all that kind of good stuff, but it's just, look, there's boats sailing, people on their little scuba diving, you know, kayaking. It is totally just beautiful. And we are back on the black, wonderfully sandy beach. It's absolutely gorgeous. Very dense, but as you can see, it's black, but it's sand, not the pebble cobs. Reminding me of the British Blackpool beaches, but it's this gorgeous stuff. So people are swimming, there's rocks, there's cars parked, you know, ships all docked kind of thingy, and so it's quite lovely. I think we're going to dip our feet in the water. Anyway, we just wanted to show you what we're seeing. I can't even begin to tell you how beautiful. And the weather, oh my gosh, can I just say, this weather is absolutely gorgeous. And it's supposed to be 76. It feels like 80, right, Wendy? It feels about 80, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, just wanted to show you guys what we're doing and how we're at, what we're doing and where we're at. Santorini, a little fishing village. I'll show you some more video later. Bye. Oh, well, these are again the docks, and there's some fishermen. We've got some yachts, some big boats for people who are quite wealthy, I guess, here in Santorini. These are all from neighboring islands that dock their boats here. What can I say? It's a cheap flight to get over here. As far as euros, you can get a flight to Santorini, or actually be on a boat, like a boat ride, from $28 or 28 euros. So that's pretty cheap. So that's about $30, $35 maybe one way. Some of them you can get as a round trip, so that's awesome. Okay, so these motorbikes and these bicycles are a death trap. They drive without helmets on them, but these guys, I guess they're pros. They don't. There's not too many accidents, I heard. Maybe they lie. Anyway, this one is pulling in. I guess it's the tour boat. And so, again, the water is beautiful. The atmosphere is gorgeous. Wendy's tired and tuck it out, but we're still trying to get all of our private excursion or tour time. So, what can I say? Some cute looking men, handsome, I guess. And beautiful women. Santorini and even Greece itself is Athens, Greece, where some of the beautifulest people are, I think. So it's great. I'm an anomaly, but it's all right. I kind of like it. Anyway, it's me going. Sorry, I'm showing you the back of cars, but boats and fishing nets and people milling around. This is what it's all about, folks. Private tours. Bye.